Good morning. Thank you for joining me. Kirsty, back again. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kirsty Wales and I live in Sussex and I run a mobile massage therapy business around the area, treating people. I work with cancer patients. I do scar work, which is actually working on the scar tissue. I do sports and relaxation massage as well when I'm not doing the other things. Just depends who needs what. So why am I here? Well, I've got a theme going this week all about food. And yesterday we were talking about food labels. Hi Lorraine, hope you're well. We were talking about food labels and all the information that you should have on the box on pre-packaged food. Got water today, strawberry water today. So yesterday I used this as an example, and we went through all the details that are on there and what you need to know about them. Today we're going just a little bit further and we're talking about, I can find it, we're talking about the traffic light system that you find on these products and what they mean. So they were introduced to make packaging easier for us to understand and make better choices with. Traffic lights, because obviously red, amber and green, and it is that simple. You know, if a product is green, it's a really good choice for you and you should be consuming green products as much as possible. If it's an amber product, then it's kind of in the middle. It should be okay for you, but just watch how often you're having it. And if you're in the red zone, then that is a product that you should limit within your diet because it's going to be high in either fat, salt or sugar. And they are the three things that make food tasty: fat, salt or sugar. If you took all three of those ingredients out of any product, it wouldn't have any taste and it would be more like eating cardboard. You know, it just wouldn't have any flavour to it. So what the manufacturers do these days is they adjust the amounts that they put in. So just going back to the traffic lights just for a moment. Food labels must be clear. They must not be misleading. They must be in a certain font size so that you can read them. And it must be laid out. Your nutritional values, which are generally on the back of your package. So it's this table format, which is all the nutrients that are in there per 100 grams per portion size. And it has to contain the energy, and that's listed in kilocalories or in kilojoules. In the UK, we tend to stick with kilocalories. Abroad, a lot of countries use the kilojoules more than the kilocalories. But stick to one and you'll be okay. So it's got in there the macronutrients. We've got 3 macronutrients, and they are nutrients that we need in larger quantities. So carbohydrates, fats and proteins, they're the macros. The micronutrients are the vitamins and the minerals that we need in much smaller quantities. So it will give you a value for each of those according to per 100 grams of that product, or 100 millilitres if you're talking about liquids. The other thing to bear in mind, and I can't find it on this package, oh yes, here we are. Up on your traffic light system, you can see this is green, so this is a good choice. This is in the amber, so I'll just need to watch it. And the ambers are the sugars and the salts. The sugars, because these are honey flakes, okay, so that's where the sugar's coming from, and the salt is for flavouring. But the fat content is green, and also the saturated fat is green. So it's a low fat product, but it's a bit high in sugar. And that's the way to look at it. Yeah, what else have I got? I have got, here's some snacks to eat on the go. And you can see that these, again, are all amber ones. So that's okay. It's probably better than eating a packet of chocolate digestive biscuits. Maybe not as yummy, but... And then the bad boy, you can see we've got greens and you think, yay! But we've also got a nice red one in here, and that's the sugar. And there's hideous amounts of sugar in 1 can of Coca-Cola. So that's how to look at the system, and it was brought in to make it easier so that people could understand their food labels and what they were eating more easily. It's not regulation, you know, it's not a legal requirement. It is voluntary, but most of the manufacturers have come over to it, along with the shops. So when you go and look at the research, there's a whole list of shops that, you know, are involved in it, and a lot of manufacturers. A lot of the laws change, and there will be changes when Brexit actually finally happens, because we can then regulate much more what we want in this country rather than what the EU was imposing, so there may be changes. The other thing I was going to say about the percentages, so when you look at your food label and there's a percentage at the bottom, now that is talking about the percentage of your reference intake, and it's how much of that product will go towards your recommended daily amount, okay, your daily diet. So if I look at this, it's telling me that in the sugars, which is amber, there are 7 grams of sugar per 100 grams of this product, which gives me 7% of my reference intake, the amount that I should have in the day. Sorry, I keep going to put things on the table, that's why I'm disappearing out short. So it makes it good for you because you can then compare other products. You know, if you pick 2 up in the supermarket, you go, well, that one's got that, and that one's got that, and you make an informed choice rather than going, I have no idea what is going on. So that's the traffic light system. The other thing that I was going to talk to you today about is when they start talking about low fat products, fat-free products, and they start using words like light, lower fat, and all those. What does it actually mean? Okay, that's what I want to give you the information so that you can understand it. If a product is low fat, it has to have 3 grams or less per 100 grams of that product of fat, compared to the original product or a similar product. Okay. If it's fat-free, it has to have 0.5 gram of fat or less compared to the original product with 100 grams. And when you're talking about liquids, they talk about 1.5 grams of fat per 100 millilitres. So for instance, semi-skimmed milk, you will find 1.8 grams of fat per 100 ml in there. So that makes it, you know, a lower fat product or fat-free product, depending on how many grams of fat are in there. The thing to be aware of is if they reduce the fat, the chances are they will have increased some of either the sugar or the salt. Because do you remember I said at the beginning that fat, salt and sugar are the 3 things that give our food flavour. So if we reduce one, they increase something else to compensate for it. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky, because you look at a product and you pick it up and you say, oh, it says light, you know, and they use that L-I-T-E. I hate that, it drives me insane. But it's a light product compared to the original or compared to a similar version. But have they put more sugar in there, which then makes the sugar content higher and will give you excess calories as well? So you just need to watch what you're eating. Sometimes it's better to have a full fat version, for want of a better word, and have less of it and have it less often, but it satiates your taste buds and it's really something that you're craving. Just have a little bit of the original one rather than having lots of the light version, which actually might be more harmful to you than the original product. So compare, have a look at your products. Look at the sugar content. So on here, we've got very low fat. We've got, where's my sugars gone? Of which sugars? All right, so we said it was 7 grams of sugar in here, but when you look back on here, there's only 0.1 gram of saturated fat. So I'm low in fat, but higher in sugar. Now, for me, that's part of the reason that I exercise, because that's the trade-off. I like the honey flavour. I've got a very sweet tooth, and I like those. but then I go and do my run, and that keeps me in balance. So it's all about maintaining balance, making informed choices, and understanding what the labelling is actually saying for you. So if it's a lower fat, a fat-free, a light product, it has to be basically 30% less than the original product was, okay, or a similar product. So you can go and you can look at the labels, you can look at the traffic light system, and you can make better choices on what you want to eat and how it's going to impact on your health. So that's all I was going to say today about the traffic lights and the terminology, if you want a posh word, for low fat and light and everything. Rest of the week, we're still talking about nutrition. We're going to talk about sugar and the different variations of sugar that you can get these days. And we're going to also be really interesting. I'm going to talk about fresh food versus tin food versus frozen food. Is fresh really fresh? Have a think. The quiz is on today on my page. Which has got more nutrients, the red wine or the white wine? There's a poll. You can just go in, click on one of them, and the answer will be released later on this evening. I think it's about 6 o'clock. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've gleaned some information out of that, and join me again tomorrow and we'll talk about something else. And there's a recipe tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. It's a really yummy main meal recipe tomorrow, which is good for diabetics. If you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.